I have sat across from this morning more times than I can ever count. Different cities, different industries, different numbers on the wire, but it's always the same Wednesday. You wake up at 6 in the morning, the wire hit yesterday, you are now worth $1.2 billion. And for the first time in 23 years, you have no idea what you are supposed to do with yourself today. Every Tuesday for the past 2 decades, you woke up to a problem, a vendor calling at 6:30, a bank covenant issue, a key employee threatening to leave, a customer in Singapore that needed you on the phone before their day ended. The business ran the clock. The clock did not run you. The business did, actually. You did not have a morning routine. You had a queue. Yesterday at 4 p.m., the funds cleared. The lawyers shook hands, your wife started crying, and you weren't sure why she was crying or why you were not crying. But then you went out to dinner, and then you slept. And now it is 6 a.m. on a Wednesday morning, and the phone is not making a sound. Nobody warned you about the quiet. They warned you about the tax bill. They warned you about the kids. They warned you about the relatives who would call. But nobody warned you that the phone going silent would feel like a body part being removed. Here's what you found out on the first week. The business was not what you owned. The business was who you were. The vendor calling at 6:30 was not an interruption. It was actually proof that you were the person in charge. The covenant with the bank was not a constraint. It was actually a stake in the ground that said that you mattered enough to be on the hook. The Singapore customer was not an actual time zone problem. It was a reason that 6 a.m. existed for you. And now on this Wednesday morning, where the coffee is the same, the window looks at the same trees, your wife is asleep down the hall, everything in the house is exactly where it was on Monday, except the thing that organized every minute of your life is gone. And what is left is a man with $1.2 billion and no queue. The cruel part is that you cannot say any of this out loud. You cannot tell your wife because she's been waiting 23 years for this. You cannot tell your friends because they think that you won the jackpot. You cannot tell your kids because they are watching you to figure out what to think about the money. So you sit with the coffee and your smile when she comes downstairs, and you start the longest day of your life. Here is the part that takes about a year to understand. The disorientation is not a bug. It is the system telling you that the operating system of your last 2 decades was the business, and the operating system of the next 2 decades has to be something else, and you have not built it yet. The founders who come through this very well are the ones who treated the year after the sale the same way they treated the first year of their business. As a thing to be built, not as a vacation, not as a reward, as the next thing. The ones you do not come through this well are the ones who waited for the quiet to feel like freedom. It does not. It feels like absence until you put something in it. Guys, this is important. The wire cleared. The phone went quiet. Nobody told you the quiet was the hard part. Now you spend 23 years building this thing you just sold. What are you going to spend the next 23 years building? See you next week.